This is what happens when you have a horse with separation anxiety and you separate him from his buddies. Now he's actually, up until now, he's been getting a lot better, but today he's actually pretty stressed. He's actually been worse, believe it or not. But as you can see, he's all over the place. And the safest place for me is on the other side of the fence. And I'm just going to stay here and wait until he calms down a little, and he will. In time, he always does. And, eventually what's going to happen, actually, is he'll come over by the fence here, and he'll stop in the general area. And each time he comes by, he'll stop a little bit closer to me until he finally decides, okay, I'm going to hang out with you instead. And that's all we're going to do. We're not doing a darn thing. We don't have to train, and we're just going to be patient and wait. And you'll see what happens eventually. Okay, you just got to see this guy running around like a lunatic. And what it brings up another point I want to talk about is being able to read the horse and understand what's going on. It can actually make the difference between, well, quite literally life and death sometimes. Because when he was having his separation anxiety fit there, some people would have looked at that and saw him blasting around and thinking, hey, that's cute, he's running around and playing and kicking up his heels. Well, no, that's completely wrong. To the untrained eye, that might have been what it looked like, but there was really nothing cute about it. It was actually downright dangerous. And he was not having fun. He was actually extremely stressed. And that actually wasn't the first time I had to get out of the pen that day. Well, no, actually, that was the first time, but it wasn't the only time I had to get out of the pen that day with them. One of the things I like to do is I like teaching a horse to stand where I want it so that I can do whatever I want at liberty without tying it. And I've explained my reasons behind that. Now, one of the ways of achieving that is just simple repetition until the horse realizes, you keep putting it back in the same spot every time it moves until it realizes that's where it's supposed to stay. He was being rather defiant that day, and I'd already put him back in spot about 10 times. I went to go get him and he was at liberty like this, just to halter on. I went to get him, and as I approached him, he gave me that look. He kind of turned his head towards me a little bit. The ears went back, and he actually started to swing his tail end towards me, and that was when I said, no way, that ain't happening. I always carry a lead with me. Like I said, it's a good thing to carry with you, and it can actually be a self-defense thing, because all you got to do is start spinning that thing. You don't have to hit the horse with it, but you start spinning that thing, and they'll keep their distance. And I could demonstrate that, but I'm not going to, because he hasn't done anything wrong, so I'm not going to chase him around with the thing. But that was my self-defense, kept him at distance to me until I got out of the pen, at which point I lunged him from outside of the fence. Now, I'm not going to bother explaining how I did that, but I kept him moving, made him move. He kept running up and down that side of the pen. He kept away from me until he'd finally decided he'd had enough, walked over to me nice and calmly and with his head down low, nice and respectfully and politely, and said, okay, I'm sorry. And I got back into the pen with him after that. I put him where I wanted him once and picked up the saddle and put it on him, and he didn't move an inch. So he finally made the decision that he was going to stop acting like a jerk. But that was where it pays to read the horse and to understand the horse. There's a difference. Like I said, the first segment that I got here, he wasn't being cute. That was a very upset, anxious horse, and that was a potentially dangerous situation. And if I didn't read that properly and get out of there when I did, I could have gotten hurt. There was a definite potential for injury in a situation like that. Same with when I was working with him. I went to approach him, and he started giving me that look. The ears went back just a tiny bit, and the tail end came over, probably only maybe a foot towards me. Not much, but it was just enough. I knew he was thinking about it, and I was reading him. I was paying attention, and that's why you have to learn to read your horse, because things aren't always what they seem. Like I said, that first segment, a lot of people would have looked at that and said, oh, is that ever cute? He's running around playing. No, that was not cute. That was dangerous, and he wasn't playing. He was stressed, he was upset, and basically he was throwing a tantrum is what he was doing. And when a horse is throwing a tantrum, you don't want to be getting in their way, because they really don't care about you at that point. So it's very, very important that you learn to read your horse, any horse for that matter, especially your own. Learn to see the signs of when things are about to go bad, and have a little self-preservation. Like I said, I'm big on safety. I don't get hurt very often, and I generally will avoid the dangerous situation in the first place. So, like I said, that was not the only time that day I got out of the pen. I've had to do it with him about 3 times now. I've had to get out of the pen while working with him because he just got to the point of dangerous. But that's okay. I'm not scared of him, and I'm not going to live my life in fear. I will get back in the pen with him again, and I will continue to work with him. Because, I'm smart enough to know when it's time to get out of the way, but I'm not going to live in fear, because that just sucks the fun out of life. And actually, I kind of like this guy. He's actually a lot of fun to work with. He's a really smart horse. He's not a bad horse. He just has some issues that need to be ironed out. And I think in time, with the proper handling, he's not going to be a problem anymore. He's actually going to be a marvelous horse. And whoever ends up riding him in the end is going to end up with a fantastic mount, as long as they maintain the right attitude towards handling him. He's going to be a great horse. But learn how to read your horse. Important. Could potentially be a life and death situation. It can certainly prevent an injury if you learn how to read your horse and know what it's thinking before it actually even does it. Horses talk. There's a saying, horses are always talking. Are we listening? Everything that he does is a sign. Every single little gesture of his body is telling me something. Sometimes it's nothing that matters, nothing important at all. Other times it's like, it's time to back off and get away and stop pushing him. I mentioned that before, I don't want to ever push him. I don't want to cross the line. I don't want him to blow up. And I saw that he was right on that line, and that was when it was time to back off. And self-preservation for me, and it didn't do damage to our relationship and what we were trying to accomplish at the time. And in the end, it all worked out quite well. But still, important, learn to read the horse. Could save your butt. Have a good day.